What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So this is going to be a pretty personal episode of Joe Winko Talk, and before I get to what I'm going to be talking about, I just want to point out, if I look really pale and ghostly in this video, it's because I'm wearing a ton of sunscreen right now. Yeah, I've been wanting to wear sunscreen more often because the sun does damage to your skin. And if you hear any loud buzzing noises right now, it's because there's people working outside. But I really want to get this video done, so I'm just going to do it anyway. So hopefully you guys can hear me over them. So yeah. So this episode is going to be about all the places that I've been wanting to road trip to. I actually shared the map of all the places I've been wanting to road trip to. I shared it on Twitter and on Facebook earlier. Here it is right here. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about each of the places, why I want to go to each of those places, and how long I plan on being at all of them, and exactly what I plan on doing there. But there's some other stuff that I actually want to explain first. So, as you guys all know, I absolutely love to go on road trips, but I actually do not have a car, so I never get anywhere by myself. But also another thing is, I do have a driver's license, but it's really not recommended that I do the driving because of my type 1 diabetes. Because if my blood sugar bottoms out while I'm behind the wheel, it could get really bad. So that's why I always prefer to be the passenger and the navigator instead. I mean, I always hitchhike around with different people all the time, and usually that's never a problem because they never ask me to drive their car for them, and I'm usually always very happy about that. Actually, I always am very happy about that. But every now and then I do run into someone who gets mad at me because I don't do any of the driving, and that kind of throws me off a bit because I guess this is because of my autism mind. I usually think that no one would want anyone else to drive their car except them, and I get uncomfortable when they ask me to do the driving. So that's another reason why I always prefer to be the passenger and the navigator instead. Also, because of my autism, I get sidetracked and distracted very easily, so that's another thing to keep in mind. Another thing that I want to make very clear is that there's a lot of places that I'm going to be listing in this video, but the thing is, I'm technically not going to spend much time in any of the places I list in this YouTube video at all. Like, I do love the road trips and everything, but the most I'll spend in each location is probably a day or two. Not very long. I mean, to be completely honest with you guys, getting to each of these places would be the funnest part, honestly. Because I also have my dash cam that I record the whole drive on, and I always love doing that. But to be completely honest, besides that, the amount of time that I'll spend at each location on this map, it won't be for very long. So, let me start explaining all of them right now. So I'm actually going to be starting with the closest locations and then working my way out, in case you guys are wondering. So the first place that I wanted to road trip to, or be taken to, whatever way you want to think of it as, is Tallahassee, Florida. And the reason why I want to go to Tallahassee, Florida is because it's the capital city of Florida, and I thought that was very interesting. Plus, I know that the history of Tallahassee, how it became the capital city of the state of Florida, it's because back then, a lot of people would live up in the panhandle of Florida before they invented air conditioning, and the most populated cities in the state of Florida used to be Jacksonville and Pensacola, and Tallahassee, Florida was right in between both of them. So that's how it became the capital city for the state of Florida. So what I planned on doing in Tallahassee was just doing a quick video of exploring Tallahassee, Florida, showing the Capitol building, but also showing a couple of the parks in Tallahassee, Florida. Yeah, I mainly planned on being outside for all these locations, really. That's where I plan on doing my YouTube videos at. And that's what I planned on doing in Tallahassee, Florida. Wouldn't really be there for very long, only for a day. And that's basically it for Tallahassee. So after that, the next place is Jackson, Mississippi. Now, I actually have been to Jackson, Mississippi before a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it there. I thought it was a beautiful city, really. I didn't really spend enough time there, not quite as much as I wanted to, but I do want to go back again. But there's something else I've been wanting to do there. Now, I made Jackson, Mississippi in my SimCity 4 series, The United States of Joe Winko, and one of my YouTube followers became the mayor of that city. Her name was Allie, and Allie passed away in summer of 2019 by suicide, and I felt really sorry for her. And I actually did do this while I was in Jackson. I made a memorial picture for her, and I really wanted to hang the picture up at the city capitol because she was the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi in my SimCity 4 series, but they didn't let me hang it in the Capitol building for Jackson, Mississippi. But I really wanted to hang it up somewhere in Jackson, Mississippi, so there would be a memorial for her in Jackson, Mississippi, since she's the mayor of Jackson, Mississippi in the United States of Joe Winko. She was 15 years old when she passed away, so what I was planning on doing was I was planning on making 15 memorial pictures, and I'll definitely accumulate that many over time. 15 memorial pictures. I was planning on framing all of them. Then I wanted to go to 15 different parks all around the city of Jackson, Mississippi, and leave a memorial picture at all of the parks in Jackson, Mississippi. And the reason why is because I believe if I actually did that, and I was also going to do a video of me leaving the memorial pictures at every single park too, but I believe that if I honestly did that, at least one of them would be found by someone who would put it at a public place in Jackson, Mississippi, and put it on display. So that's basically what I wanted to do in Jackson, Mississippi. I wouldn't be there for very long, only for a day, but that's the reason why I want to go to Jackson, Mississippi, go back to Jackson, Mississippi. Oh yeah, and in case you're wondering, this is my adventure runestone. I did a whole episode of Joe Winko talk about this. I'll have the link to that in the pinned comments. So, moving on to the next place. Northern Alabama. Now, there's a reason why I wanted to go to Northern Alabama. It's because a really bad tornado hit Northern Alabama way back in 2011, and I wanted to do a video of me covering the tornado track of where the tornado went and visiting all the towns that were struck by this tornado. The towns of, well, there's Red Bay, Alabama, but then there's also Hamilton, Alabama, Hackleburg, Alabama, Phil Campbell, Alabama, Harvest, Alabama, Mount Hope, Alabama, Tanner, Alabama, and Huntland, Tennessee. And I actually made like a really detailed map of exactly everywhere in Alabama I've been wanting to go to, and I've been looking for someone to take me there for years. However, I have never found anyone who would be open to going to Northern Alabama. I mean, I don't know why they're afraid to go to Northern Alabama, because the people in the small towns, like out in the country, people always think that people in small towns out in the country are like really territorial and defensive or something like that. Not exactly sure how to explain it. But the truth is, whenever I go to a small town somewhere, regardless of where it is, people are never afraid of me at all. The reason why is because, well, first of all, it's the costume that I wear. And I think people are usually smart enough to know that it's not like I'm going to their town to cause trouble, because anyone who's causing trouble in a small town, they would try their best to not attract attention to themselves. They would definitely not wear a bright, loud red cape and a red pointy bandana and walk around with a selfie stick recording themselves if they were going to do something bad. And 100% of the time, people are smart enough to know that. So that's the reason why I never got any trouble in any of the small towns that I've been taken to, really. And the reason why I wanted to do the video in northern Alabama was in memory of all the people who died in the 2011 Hackleburg-Phil Campbell tornado. I was basically going to cover every single place that was struck by the tornado, and I was also going to visit some of the graves of the people who were killed by that tornado, also in memory of all them, because I thought it was really sad, honestly. And technically I would only be there for roughly a day or two. Wouldn't be there for very long, because I calculated the amount of time it would take to drive through all those locations in northern Alabama, and it honestly wouldn't take very long. So that's basically everywhere I want to go in Alabama. So the next place is Carrollton, Georgia. And the reason why I wanted to go to Carrollton, Georgia is because I wanted to do a video of me leaving flowers by this girl's grave. I saw her in a documentary online a long time ago. Well, it was actually on TV. Her name was Amy Yates, and she was an 8-year-old girl who was murdered at a trailer park back in 2004, and she would have been the same age as me if she was still alive, and I was the same age as her when I saw that documentary about her on TV, and I felt really sorry for her, and I wanted to do the video of me leaving flowers by her grave because I felt really sorry for her. And that's what I planned on doing there. And I honestly do that a lot. I have like a lot of videos on YouTube of me leaving flowers by people's graves. And the reason why I do that is as a memorial tribute to them, so they're never forgotten at all. Because if I was deceased, I would want someone who would leave flowers by my grave also. So that's why I wanted to go to Carrollton, Georgia. So after that, the next place I wanted to visit was Savannah, Georgia, only for a day. And what I planned on doing in Savannah, Georgia was doing a video of exploring Savannah, Georgia, basically like I did for Pasco County and Citrus County, except just for the town of Savannah, Georgia, and also on the beach near Savannah, Georgia, because I thought Savannah was a really pretty looking town. And also there's a song, Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac. That's the song that reminds me of Savannah, Georgia. Let me see if I can play it for you guys right now. 1 second. That's a song that makes me think of Savannah, Georgia, because it has that, it has that old school country vibe to it, and whenever I hear that song, I always imagine myself in the passenger seat of a stranger's car being driven around Savannah, Georgia during the sunrise and or the sunset, and recording it all on my dash cam and doing a YouTube video of exploring Savannah, Georgia. So yeah, that's the reason why I really want to go to Savannah, Georgia. And I'd only need to be there for a day because there's only a couple places there I'd feature in the video. But I thought that'd be a really fun place to visit. So, moving on to the next place. the next place I wanted to go visit was Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I only needed to be there for a day also, like almost all these other places. However, there's a specific time during the year where I wanted to go there because Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, that's like a major spring break place and it gets pretty rowdy there during the summer and during the spring. Like, I wouldn't want to go to Myrtle Beach in March, April, June, July, or August because it would be full of college kids and vacationers, and it can get pretty rowdy there. So technically the only time I'd want to go to Myrtle Beach is during September, October, or November. Hopefully there's no hurricane going on there around that time. But that's the only time I would ever want to go to Myrtle Beach. And what I planned on doing there was doing an adventure video of exploring Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But the real reason why I wanted to go to Myrtle Beach and do a video there is because there was this girl who went missing in Myrtle Beach. Her name was Brittany Drexel. And I did a video of me talking about her a long time ago, and I felt really sorry for her. Truly, I honestly believe that she's still alive, and that's what I want everyone else to think. And another thing I was planning on doing was casting a spell in Myrtle Beach, so she's found and returned home safely. And that's what I was going to do in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I was also going to visit her memorial tree that they have set up for her in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And I was going to do a video of me leaving a flower by her memorial tree. But it was going to be a white flower because to me, a white flower represents hope. And that's something that my autism mind came up with, that a white flower represents hope. Because I seriously do believe that she's still alive, and I really hope she gets found and returned home safely. I was only 13 years old when I first read about her online, and it's just really tragic and really sad that they still don't know where she is. And I just wanted to visit Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, so I could do a video about her there, and mainly featuring the places where she was last seen at. But it was going to be very subtle. It wasn't going to be like, this is the last street she walked down, but I did want to walk down the street that she was last seen at and do a video of me there, just in case it might lead to something that would lead to her being found and returned safely. So that's why I wanted to go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So after Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the next place I wanted to go to was Wilmington, North Carolina, and that's not very far from Myrtle Beach. It's in North Carolina, right near the Atlantic Ocean, right on the Atlantic Ocean. The reason why I wanted to go to Wilmington, North Carolina is because that's the town where Scream 5 was filmed at. And I recently saw the movie Scream 5. I didn't see it in theaters because I was worried about Omicron, but my grandmother, she got it for me off of YouTube, and I watched it on YouTube, and I absolutely loved it. I even recorded my whole reaction to Scream 5 as I was watching it, and I plan on posting that eventually. But I absolutely loved it, and I thought the town that they filmed it in was beautiful. And what I planned on doing there was going to all the places in Wilmington, North Carolina where they filmed Scream 5 and doing a video showing the house where they filmed this scene in Scream 5 and all the other scenes in Scream 5. Because I really loved that movie and I thought it was awesome. So that's the reason why I wanted to go to Wilmington, North Carolina. So just hope that I make it there, and hope that I find someone to take me to Wilmington and all the other places too. But yeah, that's why I want to go to Wilmington, North Carolina. Alright, so next place is Interstate 81 in the state of Virginia. Now, I absolutely love the state of Virginia. It's a state that I'm spiritually connected to, just like every single other state that I'm listing in this video. I always loved the state of Virginia. First of all, it's beautiful there. They have the mountains to the west, and they also have the beaches to the east. Also, the state of Virginia is shaped exactly like my bandana when you have it unfolded. So that's why I really want to go to Virginia and go back to Virginia. But there's one section of Virginia I've been wanting to go to, and that's Interstate 81 from Winchester, Virginia, southbound to Roanoke, Virginia. And I wanted to do a video about exploring Winchester, Virginia, but mainly the reason why I wanted to go to Winchester, Virginia is because it's the first town on Interstate 81. So I would only be in Winchester for a day or two, spend the night in Winchester. The next morning, I would want them to take me down from Winchester, Virginia, down Interstate 81 to Roanoke, Virginia. The reason why is because I wanted to film that whole ride on my dash cam too. Because when you're riding down Interstate 81 from Winchester, Virginia to Roanoke, Virginia, the land starts out as really flat, but as you keep driving south, you get closer and closer to the Appalachian Mountains, and they get higher and higher the closer you get to Roanoke, Virginia. And there's actually a song that I listen to a lot that always makes me think of that. And you guys probably heard this before. That song is called We Don't Talk Anymore by Selena Gomez and Charlie Puth. Let me play it for you guys right now. This part. Whenever I hear that, I always imagine myself sitting in the passenger seat in a stranger's car, recording the whole drive on my dash cam while we're driving down Interstate 81 from Winchester, Virginia to Roanoke, Virginia. And this song reminds me of that, and that's what makes me think of it. But there's also a reason why I wanted to go to Roanoke, Virginia. Well, yeah, I wanted to do a video about exploring Roanoke, Virginia, but also because they have this huge star in Roanoke, Virginia that they light up every single night, the Roanoke Star, and I think it's really cool. But also I wanted to visit Roanoke, Virginia because there was this girl who passed away in Roanoke, Virginia. She wasn't murdered, but she passed away in Roanoke, Virginia. Her name was Candace Davendorf, and I was planning on doing a YouTube video about her because there's a whole story on exactly what happened to her, and that's what the Exploring Roanoke, Virginia video, it was going to be dedicated in memory of her, because I also want to get a law passed in her name as well, so what happens to her won't happen to anyone else. But that's worthy of a whole new episode of Joe Winko Talk, and that would take too long to explain. But I will be doing an episode of Joe Winko Talk about that. So, the next place that I wanted to go to was Maryland, and there's actually places all over Maryland that I wanted to go to. But Maryland's a pretty small state, so I imagine it would only take us like 3 days at most to go to all those places I have listed on the map. And that's rounding up, 3 days at most, because I don't really plan on being at each of those places, at each of the icons on that map for very long. There's a song that makes me think of Maryland. Let me find it really quick. It's called Tell Me Lies by Fleetwood Mac, because the song I Want to Be With You Everywhere always reminded me of Delaware. So I thought it only made sense for a Fleetwood Mac song to make me think of Maryland. And the song that reminded me most of Maryland was Tell Me Lies by Fleetwood Mac. Here it is right here. I absolutely love this song because it has that old school East Coast country vibe to it, which definitely makes me think of Maryland. There's no other place this song fits except Maryland. And whenever I hear this song, I always imagine myself in the passenger seat of a stranger or even a friend's car driving through Maryland and recording it on my dash cam. But there's also a lot of places in Maryland I want to get out and do a video at too, really. Well, the same thing for all of these places, really. I don't plan on staying in the car the whole entire time. But yeah, that's why I wanted to do the video of exploring Maryland. And those are all the places in Maryland I wanted to feature in the video. And I thought it'd be a really fun adventure, honestly. And it would be a really fun adventure, just as long as it doesn't rain. And that goes for all these places, really, but, yeah, didn't mention that till now. But, yeah, that's what I wanted to do in Maryland. So, the next place that I've been wanting to visit was Blairstown, New Jersey. And the reason why I wanted to visit Blairstown, New Jersey is, this is going to be sad, but the reason why I wanted to visit Blairstown, New Jersey, there's this cemetery in Blairstown where a girl was found dead at. They still don't know her name, but in 1982, a teenage girl was found dead at this cemetery, and they call her Princess Doe. She was a white girl with brown hair, and she was wearing a red shirt, which is usually, I mean, back during the days where I would wear shirts a lot, I always would wear red. I always do wear red, actually. And she was wearing this skirt also, and they call her Princess Doe. And I felt really sorry for her because she died a horrible death. They said that she was beaten to death, and they thought that she was only 13, 14, 15, 16, or 17, or 18 years old. And I felt really sorry for her, and I wanted to do a video of me leaving flowers by her grave in memory of her so she's never forgotten at all. And to also help her case get more attention, there's actually a documentary about Princess Doe. I'll have it linked in the pinned comments of this video. But that's what I wanted to do in Blairstown, New Jersey. Do a video of me leaving flowers by her grave. The next place I wanted to go to was Montauk Point in Long Island, New York. Now, the reason why I wanted to go there is because there's this lighthouse at the end of Long Island, New York, and I thought it was really cool how they have a lighthouse at the end of Long Island, New York. I was also fascinated by Long Island because it's like this long island off the coast of New York, and I thought it'd be really cool to drive through Long Island, New York and record it all on my dash cam, the entire length of Long Island, New York. But I also wanted to do a video in front of the lighthouse at the end of Long Island, New York at Montauk Point, and also take a selfie in front of the lighthouse at the end of Long Island, New York. And I thought that'd be a lot of fun, really. It'd be a fun place to visit. So that's basically what I wanted to do in Long Island, New York, and the only place I wanted to go to in New York, honestly. But moving on, the next place I wanted to visit was a cemetery in the town of Waterbury, Connecticut. And this is going to be really sad, but when coronavirus first started, Connecticut was actually one of the states that were hit hardest by coronavirus at first. Their cases, like, they handled it pretty, I don't know how to, they were able to bring down the cases, and they managed to keep most of the people safe in Connecticut. The governor and the people in charge of things in the state of Connecticut, they were able to handle it. I mean, I don't want to say that they handled it well because, like, I feel like that'd be disrespectful to the people who died. But one of the first people who died of coronavirus in the state of Connecticut was an 18-year-old girl named Yasmin Penna. And I felt really sorry for her because she was younger than I was, and she was one of the first people who died of coronavirus. Like, I always took coronavirus seriously because, I mean, I'm high risk because of my diabetes, and even though I'm not old at all, I still took coronavirus seriously. I definitely didn't want to get it, and I was definitely trying my best to stay safe. But when I heard about what happened to Yasmin, it was around late February of 2020. She started feeling sick, and she never got better. She had chest pains, and then in March of 2020, she couldn't breathe, and they brought her to the hospital, and they said she had coronavirus, and they put her on a ventilator, and in April of 2020, that's when she passed away. And I saw that on the news, and I felt really sorry for her. So, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do a video of me leaving flowers by Yasmin's grave in memory of her, so she's never forgotten. It's already been 2 years, and it was just really sad. She was born the same year. I mean, she's even younger than my niece, and I just felt really sorry for her. She wanted to be a fashion designer when she grew up, and it's just not fair what happened to her. So I wanted to do a video of me leaving flowers by her grave in memory of her in Waterbury, Connecticut. But the next place in Connecticut that I wanted to visit was New London, Connecticut. Now, I actually already been to New London, Connecticut. I did a whole video of me exploring New London, Connecticut. I'll have a link to that in the pinned comments. But there's one place I forgot to go to in New London, Connecticut, and that was the beach. Because I really wanted to go to the beach in New London, Connecticut. The reason why I didn't is because they said that the beach was closed the day I went. And I didn't have time to go there. I mean, I could have went to another beach in New London, Connecticut, but I didn't really plan that part out well enough back when I went in 2019. So I want to go back there again, just to the beach in New London, Connecticut. So that's where I wanted to go in New London, Connecticut. And I just wanted to film a video of me on the beach in New London, Connecticut. And also I wanted to get more dash cam footage of Connecticut because I think it's a beautiful state, and I didn't really spend enough time there, but if I got to go back there one more time, I would absolutely love it, really, and I wouldn't need to be there for very long. Just want to go to the beach and to Yasmin's grave, and that's basically everywhere for Connecticut, honestly. So, hope that I make it there. Also, the rest of the places that I listed, and the rest of the places that I will talk about. So, let's move on to the last place along the East Coast. This was actually another place that I've already been to. It's Halton, Maine. That's where I want to go to. And I've been there before, but last time I was there, I wasn't there long enough. The reason why was the person who brought me to Halton, Maine back in 2021, I'm not exactly sure how to explain this, but they just weren't really in their right state of mind at the time. They weren't. When we were on the road trip together, I'll just say that they weren't. They started to get really angry at me for some reason. It was just some issue that they were dealing with. That's why I didn't get to spend much time in Halton, Maine. The reason why I wanted to go to Halton, Maine is because it's the last town on Interstate 95, the interstate that I'm spiritually connected to. And the people in Halton, Maine were actually really nice. When they saw me out there wearing my costume and everything, they were all smiling and saying, "Oh, cool costume," because the town of Halton, Maine only has like 5,000, 6,000 people. So there's not many people in the town of Halton, Maine. One woman even drove by me and was even asking me, "Oh, Joe," well, she didn't know my name, but she was going like, "Oh, you should come to our radio station. We want to ask you some questions. What brought you to Halton, Maine?" And that was so sad because I really, really, really wanted to go, but the person who brought me there was getting really angry, didn't want to stay there for very long. So I had to tell them, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't right now. I don't have much time to be here for very long," and I felt so sorry about that. And plus I didn't get to visit all the places in Halton, Maine that I wanted to go to. Like, yeah, I got to see the northern end of I-95, but I wasn't there long enough, really. I didn't get to see the town of Halton, Maine, and that's mainly what I wanted to see. The town of Halton, Maine, show a few of the landmarks, and do a video of me exploring the town of Halton, Maine. But I really want to go back there and do take two of that, really. However, there's a certain time that I want to go there. Not during the fall, because during the fall, a lot of people go up to Maine to see the leaves change colors. The best time to go there would be during the summer, because during the fall, when I was there, it can get pretty hectic because they get so many visitors. But during the summer would be the best time to go up to Halton, Maine. And it was just heartbreaking being in Halton, Maine and not being able to see all the stuff there that I wanted to because the person who brought me there was in a really bad mood for some reason. But it's the luck of the draw, really. Just hope that I'm able to go back to Halton, Maine and do take two of exploring Halton, Maine. That's what I'm telling my runestone right now. Halton, Maine. I want to go back there. Please find a happy person to take me up to Halton, Maine so I can go back to Halton, Maine and do a video of exploring Halton, Maine. And also another thing, I'm convinced that if I went back to Halton, Maine wearing my YouTube costume, I'm convinced that the same people who saw me in Halton, Maine back in October of 2021, I'm convinced that they would recognize me right away. Because who else is going to wear a red pointy bandana and a red cape, really, and no shirt? So they'll be so I imagine that they'll be saying, "Oh, you're back. That's so awesome." And then they might actually invite me to their radio station again and I'll be able to answer all the questions they have for me. And that'd be awesome, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, I won't be disappointed if that doesn't happen. I'll just be happy to go back to Halton, Maine and do a video of me exploring Halton, Maine and all the landmarks in Halton, Maine that I didn't really get to spend enough time at last time, really. So that's another place that I want to go, Halton, Maine. Just hope that I make it there and hope that I make it to the rest of the places in this video. And also imagine me at all these places too, because the more people who believe, the more likely I will be to make it there. Okay, so let's move on. So after that, the next place that I'm going to be listing as one of the places I want to be taken to in this video is the town of Tip City, Ohio. And you guys all know how I love Ohio. It's the place I'm spiritually connected to. There's a song that I listen to a lot called Wherever You Go by The Calling, which always reminded me of Ohio. And let me play it for you guys right now. If I could, then I would go back to Ohio, 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 wherever you will go. That's honestly all I hear whenever I hear that song. I mean, I always thought that song was about Ohio, but the reason why I want to go to Tip City, I actually have been to Tip City before. I mean, we passed through it, and I did manage to take a selfie in front of the Welcome to Tip City sign, but I didn't know about Tip City until when a stranger brought me through there, and that's how I found out about Tip City, but we didn't spend that much time in Tip City. But I've been wanting to go back to Tip City because I thought it was a really cool town. It's like a small town north of Dayton, Ohio, and I wanted to do a video of exploring Tip City, Ohio, because I thought it would be really cool, and also because I was thinking about having it be the setting for season 2 of my Sims 2 scary series, The Rising Dead. And what was going on in The Rising Dead? I seriously need to continue that. But what it was going on was it was about me surviving a zombie apocalypse, and in the end of season 1 we leave Wisconsin and we're on our way to the theme park in North Carolina. But when you go from Wisconsin to North Carolina, you have to go through Ohio, and we end up getting stranded in Tip City, Ohio. And Tip City, Ohio is like this small country town, and I thought it was a really pretty place. I wanted to do a video of me exploring Tip City, Ohio, and I thought it would be a lot of fun, really. I was basically just going to show the City Hall, the Welcome to Tip City sign, and a couple of the parks in Tip City, Ohio. I actually done a video like that before in another small town on the opposite side of Ohio, and that was Chardon, Ohio. I haven't finished editing that video yet, but the people in Chardon, Ohio were actually really cool and really nice. They all seemed very welcoming and they were all happy to have me visit their town. And I absolutely love Chardon, Ohio. It was a pretty place. And it's also my home in The Sims 3. Oh yeah, in case you guys didn't realize, Chardon, Ohio is actually a real place. But yeah, now you guys know. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to do in Tip City, Ohio. Do a video about exploring Tip City. Now for the last place in Ohio, up north on Interstate 75 is Toledo, Ohio. And I love Toledo, Ohio. It's a pretty city. Again, wouldn't need to be there for very long. Same with Tip City. I'd only be in Tip City for a day. And Toledo, Ohio, I'd only be there for a day because there was just a bridge in Toledo, Ohio. I'm not going to show you guys a picture of the bridge because I don't want to spoil it. But there was a bridge in Toledo, Ohio that I wanted to do a video about. And you guys know how I'm obsessed with large bridges and taking selfies by large bridges and doing videos about large bridges. So that's what I wanted to do in Toledo, Ohio. So hope that I find someone to take me to Tip City, Ohio and Toledo, Ohio. And also all the other places I talk about in this video. But yeah. Now, moving on to our next place in Kentucky, and that would be the Waverly Hills Sanitarium outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Now, there's a certain time I would want to visit this place, and it's during the winter, either during November, December, January, or February, during a time when the trees have no leaves on them. The reason why is because I wanted to do a video of me in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium in Louisville, Kentucky, and do a video of me talking about the Waverly Hills Sanitarium and take a selfie in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. However, the security around that building is extremely strict, really. And I actually tried calling the Waverly Hills Sanitarium, the people who own the building. And for those of you guys who don't know, the Waverly Hills Sanitarium is this huge, scary-looking building where 6,000 people died of tuberculosis. It's considered one of the haunted places on Earth, but then a rich couple bought the building. They're saving up money to convert it into a luxury hotel. God knows when that'll be. So they do haunted house tours there and everything. However, during the haunted house tours, photography is not allowed, and I tried calling one day because I understand why they don't just allow anyone to go up there. And I tried asking them because I really don't even want to go inside the building, really, because I think the building is scary and I don't want to go inside of it. I just wanted to go see the outside of it because I thought the building was beautiful. And it reminds me of my biological uncle's house that we used to live in the Dominican Republic because the house is brown, the building is brown, and it has that gothic look to it. And I even remember last September because me and my adoptive parents, I was visiting them in Wisconsin, and they were going to drive me back to Florida. And whenever we go from Wisconsin to Florida, we always go through Kentucky. And I tried calling the Waverly Hills Sanitarium and asking them, would it be all right if I went in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium and do a quick video in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium? I don't need to go inside of it, just in the outside of it, and only during the daylight. And the rudest ass person answered the phone, and she told me in the thickest hillbilly accent that I've ever heard in my entire damn life, she told me, "No, we don't let random people up around our building at any time just to film videos. No, you're not allowed to come to the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. Stay out of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. You're not allowed up here." And then she hung up on me, and I was just like, ugh, geez, I don't want to, I mean, I could go and do a tour there, really, but I don't want to do that. I wanted to do a video in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. However, during the winter time, when all the trees have no leaves on them, because the Waverly Hills Sanitarium is on top of a huge hill, there's a place, well, you can even see the place I'm going to be standing at in that picture, the end of that road right there. During the winter time, all the trees have their leaves off of them, and what I was going to do was I was going to be out there filming a video and taking a selfie of me in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. And I was gonna, at first I didn't really know what to say about the Waverly Hills Sanitarium except give a brief description of the history of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. And that's all I was gonna do because the Waverly Hills Sanitarium is also the place where one of my future Sims 2 scary movies, To Kill a Mockingbird, takes place at. Because I actually built the Waverly Hills Sanitarium in The Sims 2, and I was going to have the climax of that movie take place there. So besides all of that stuff I mentioned, I didn't know what else I would say about the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. However, I also decided I was going to talk about how rude the people who work at the Waverly Hills Sanitarium are, because I figured that would make it a very interesting video, because you know how much people love drama. So that's what I was going to do in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium from that neighborhood street, because the whole building is surrounded by a neighborhood. So I was just going to go out there during the winter time or during the late fall when all the trees have their leaves off of them and do a quick video in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. Even though I'm shirtless in all of my YouTube videos, I can survive the cold pretty well. You'll be surprised how cold of temperatures I can withstand being shirtless and everything. And plus it's Kentucky cold, not Wisconsin cold, so I'll be fine. So, yeah, so that's what I planned on doing at the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. So I want you guys all to imagine me standing at the end of that road wearing no shirt but my cape and maybe throw over a poncho to keep myself warm, and me talking about the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. And I figured that would definitely make an interesting video. It would be. You'd be able to see the sanitarium and you'd be able to see me at the same time. And it'd be fun, really. And also another thing was, someone actually did do a video at that location to see the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. How they were able to get a full view of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium is they were able to fly a drone up really high, and you could see the person standing there, the person controlling the drone, and you could see the Waverly Hills Sanitarium in the background, and I thought that'd be awesome. So I was looking for someone who knows how to fly a drone, who can record me in the Waverly Hills Sanitarium in the same picture, really. So you could get a picture of me in the Waverly Hills Sanitarium in the same picture, and I thought that'd be really awesome. And as a matter of fact, my adoptive dad, I'm not sure if he's really going to do this, but please hope that him or someone does. He was actually planning on taking me to the Waverly Hills Sanitarium sometime during the winter so I could do a video in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium while all the trees have no leaves on them. And I thought that'd be really awesome. I would love to go to the Waverly Hills Sanitarium and do the video in front of the Waverly Hills Sanitarium. That'd be a lot of fun. So everyone watching this video, hope that I find someone to take me to the Waverly Hills Sanitarium so I can do that video, because it'd be awesome if I did. Alright, so let's move on to the next place. Now, the next place that I wanted to go to was St. Louis, Missouri, and I already been through St. Louis, Missouri a couple times, but there's one place there that I wanted to visit, this grave at a cemetery, and it's a long story, about this grave and why it appeals to me so much, why it caught my attention, but it was this 10-year-old girl. Well, they don't know how old she really was. They believe she was between the ages of 8 to 11 years old. They also don't know what she looked like, but I plan on explaining this in a future episode of Joe Winko Talk, because out of all the... I do like a lot of videos about people who passed away and people who are found dead, because I feel sorry for all of them. But out of all the people I've talked about, this one is honestly the most haunting, really, out of all of them. And I also did want to take a selfie and do a short video in front of the arch in St. Louis, Missouri. But the main reason why I wanted to go to St. Louis was to do a video of me leaving flowers by this girl's grave and to bring more attention to her case. This 1983 St. Louis Jane Doe. And again, that's worthy of a whole new episode of Joe Winko Talk, but I'm going to talk about that in a different video because there's a lot that I have to say about it. But that's what I planned on doing in St. Louis, Missouri. So after that, the next place I wanted to go to was the town of Joplin, Missouri. Now, Joplin, Missouri is honestly a very beautiful town, and in all honesty, I actually have been there before, way back in 2017. However, at that time, I did not have my dash cam, and I didn't really spend enough time there. Basically, what I wanted to do in Joplin was just do a short video of me exploring Joplin, Missouri. I'd only be there for a day, wouldn't be there for very long. I also wanted to take a selfie. Well, technically, I couldn't really take this as a selfie, but a selfie of me, but a picture of me standing by the Welcome to Joplin sign. Because I remember when I met this stranger online, it was the same stranger who took me to Arkansas a long time ago. We were driving through Joplin, Missouri, and we didn't get into an argument, but we were going like, I thought Missouri was part of the Midwest. He thought Missouri was part of the South. And I kept telling him, no, Missouri is part of the Midwest. And he was like, no, Joe Winko, Missouri is part of the South. And I said, no, Missouri is part of the Midwest. And he said, no, Joe, Missouri is part of the South. And then as we were driving through Joplin, Missouri, we see this sign that says, welcome to Joplin, Missouri, Midwest at its best. And then I was like, I told you. We thought that was hilarious, but I was the one that was right, so yeah. And I wanted to take a picture of myself. Well, technically, I wouldn't be able to take that picture by myself. Someone else would have to take it for me, of me standing in front of the Welcome to Joplin, Missouri sign. And I thought that'd be really awesome, really. But I did want to do a video about exploring Joplin, Missouri and get some dash cam footage of Joplin, Missouri, because it is a really pretty town. I've been there before to visit Will Norton's grave. He was a famous YouTuber who was killed by the tornado back in 2011, and I felt really sorry for him. And I never wanted him to be forgotten. I left a red flower by his grave because I'm not sure if it was a rose or not, but usually when I'm visiting a man's grave, I always leave a red rose by his grave, and that's what I did for him because I felt sorry for him because he reminded me of myself. And moving on to the next location, this next place I wanted to road trip to was Derby, Kansas. And I love Kansas. It's a beautiful state. I would love to drive through there and be driven through there and get dash cam footage of Kansas because it's right in the middle of the USA and I find that very fascinating, really. But the reason why I wanted to visit Derby, Kansas, and this is a really sad one, but the reason why I wanted to visit Derby, Kansas is because there is this woman who's who's buried at a cemetery in Derby, Kansas. Her name was Delana Davis, and I felt really sorry for her. She used to live in Florida, that's where she lived, but I talked about her in one of my YouTube videos before. She died by suicide by jumping off the Skyway Bridge in back in year 2000. And that's almost the same way I died back in 2018. I was going to jump off the same bridge she did because back in 2018 I was at a really dark time in my life back in 2018, and I was going to jump off the Skyway Bridge, and I read about her on the Skyway Bridge website. She was the first person I read about on the Skyway Bridge website because the way the website is arranged is it has the years listed, and you click the year and you see who jumped off the bridge that year, and then I found her. And this is kind of because of my autism mind, but back in 2000, that's when I was in kindergarten. Yeah, I let you guys all know how old I really am. But I was in kindergarten back in year 2000, and I had the best kindergarten teacher, and she looks exactly like my kindergarten picture. And like my kindergarten teacher. And this picture, she looks exactly like my kindergarten teacher. The gray sweater and everything about her in that picture. She reminds me of my kindergarten teacher. And I had the best kindergarten teacher ever. And it was just heartbreaking reading about what happened to her, 'cause she reminded me of my kindergarten teacher, and it was heartbreaking knowing that she was that depressed, because I've been there before also. I almost died the same way she did. And her daughter actually messaged me on Facebook a while ago because I had a wiki site article page made about Delana Davis because I talked about her in one of my YouTube videos. Oh yeah, that's another thing I do. I make wiki pages about everyone I talk about in my YouTube videos. She was asking me why I made the wiki page, and I said that I made the page in memory of her, because that is true. That's why I make the wiki pages also. I made the page in memory of her because I never wanted her to be forgotten at all. And this may sound weird, but when I read about her on the Skyway Bridge website, when I was feeling really down and wanting to, when I was feeling really down back in summer of 2018, I felt really sorry for her. And this is going to sound completely crazy. This is probably something that my autism mind imagined, but I felt like when I read about her and I thought about her for a long time, not just her, but also everyone else I read about on that site, I felt like all their spirits all came to me and stopped me from jumping off the Skyway Bridge. And I really appreciated that. And I felt really sorry for Delana Davis. Her daughter also told me some more facts about her, that she was also an artist too, and her favorite movie was Nightmare Before Christmas. And I loved Nightmare Before Christmas. Another thing about every single grave that I visit is that every single grave that I visit, something about that person reminds me of myself. I see myself in every single grave I visit. Like, for example, even Will Norton, the reason why I wanted to visit his grave was because he was a famous YouTuber, like I was. He was killed by a tornado, like a psychic told me that I was going to get killed by a tornado, and in my previous life I was also killed by a tornado, but that's a completely different story. He was also 6'3", the same height that I am, and that cross that I was standing in front of in that picture on his grave, that cross is also 6'3", like not including the base, but that cross is the same height that he was and the same height that I am. And I felt sorry for him, and I also felt sorry for Delana Davis because she reminded me of my kindergarten teacher. She was an artist, like I am, kinda, and her favorite movie was Nightmare Before Christmas, and I was going to leave an orange flower by her grave because that's the color that makes me think of Halloween, and also her favorite movie was Nightmare Before Christmas, and this I always have like music playing in the background in some of the videos of me leaving flowers by the people's graves. Nowadays, whenever I do a video of me leaving flowers by someone's grave, I usually will have like music playing in the background for like the first part of me walking over to the grave. The reason why is because I try to make the video cinematic in memory of the person who passed away, because I want it to be like really respectful, and I try to make it artistic really. And this was the song that made me think of her. I'm sorry I'm crying, but it's just, it was Fix You by Coldplay. Let me find it right now.
When you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse.
That's the song that reminded me of her when I read about her online. Sorry I'm crying. It's just I just always thought that if I would have been depressed enough, well, I was for that time, if I would have died that same way, which I almost did, I would have wanted someone to do the same for me. So that's why I wanted to do the video of me visiting her grave. And I feel like because of her, I'm still here because of her. And her daughter even told me that she was a very helpful person. And I wanted people to not forget about her at all. Like all the others. Exactly like all the others I've mentioned so far. And the others I will mention. I'm sorry to tear up. I mean, that one just hit me really hard for some reason, but now I have sunscreen in my eyes. So right now my eye is still a bit tender because I got some sunscreen in it earlier, but I got that taken care of. So moving on to the next place, and this is also a bit of a sad one, but well, it is a sad one definitely. But Moore, Oklahoma, also Bridge Creek, Oklahoma, and Amber, Oklahoma. Now, the reason why I wanted to go to these locations is because a really bad tornado struck there a long time ago. If you look at that map, those are the tracks of where both of the tornadoes went. Everything you see highlighted in red is where the 2013 tornado went, and everything that you see highlighted in blue is where the 1999 tornado went. And they killed a lot of people, both of those tornadoes did. And basically what I was planning on doing there was showing you guys the locations that were hit by both of those tornadoes. And I was also going to visit the graves of some of the tornado victims in memory of them, which is exactly what I kind of did for my tri-state tornado video and exactly what I planned on doing for the Alabama route that I showed you guys also. So that's what I was planning on doing in Moore, Oklahoma, which is right by Oklahoma City, which is in the center of Oklahoma. And then the last place I wanted to go to in Oklahoma was Fletcher, Oklahoma. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And before I get to that, there's one more thing I want to say about Oklahoma. There's this one song that also makes me think of Oklahoma. It's a happy one. But I wanted to get some dash cam footage of Oklahoma because I thought it was like Kansas. I always liked Oklahoma because it's like right in the middle of the USA, and I always imagine like flat farmlands, and I imagine it being a peaceful place besides the tornadoes. But I always imagined it being a really peaceful place besides the tornadoes. This is a song that makes me think of Oklahoma. I think I have it on my iPod. Let me double check. Yep, here it is. This is the song that reminds me of Oklahoma. Whenever I hear that song, I always imagine myself sitting in the passenger seat being driven through Oklahoma and recording all of it on my dash cam. And also me taking a selfie in front of the Welcome to Oklahoma sign too. That's a song that makes me think of Oklahoma, and that's another reason why I really want to go to Oklahoma. But this next area that I wanted to visit in Oklahoma was pretty sad, honestly. It is sad, honestly. It's Fletcher, Oklahoma. It's a grave I wanted to visit in Oklahoma because my adoptive mom, me and her would watch crime documentaries all the time back when I was a kid. And this was actually the first crime documentary me and her ever watched together of American Justice. This 16-year-old girl who was murdered in Oklahoma. Well, it's a long story, really, but what happened to her was really messed up and really unfair. She was basically killed by these crazy people for no reason. Her name was Heather Rich, and she was a cheerleader, and it's just really sad, everything that happened. It's worthy of a whole new episode of Joe Winko Talk. But I felt really sorry for her, what happened when she died and what happened after her death, which was even worse. I mean, it all was really bad, but I wanted to do a video of me leaving flowers by her grave in memory of her because I felt she just got it was just sickening what happened to this girl, and it was the first crime documentary I saw when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I never forgot about it. She was killed by people who she thought were her friends, and I just felt horrible about it, but that's what I wanted to do in Fletcher, Oklahoma, do a video of me leaving flowers by Heather Rich's grave, because I felt sorry for her. And now let's move on to the next place. The next place I wanted to go to was Henderson, Arkansas, and I actually been there a long time ago because as you guys all know, a stranger I met on Craigslist took me on a road trip to Arkansas a few years ago, and there's this really pretty place that we passed by because I didn't get enough footage of the Ozark Mountains, and it's the town of Henderson, Arkansas, which is located right in the Ozark Mountains, and there's this beach in Henderson, Arkansas. I have some footage of it, but I wanted to go back and get some more footage of it because I thought it was beautiful. It's actually like a dammed up river or something like that. And you can actually walk along the beach. I'm not sure if you can get into the water, but you can walk along the water or something. Not exactly sure if it's a beach, but it's like a beautiful waterfront surrounded by the Ozark Mountains. And I wanted to do a video of me walking around there and also talking about the town of Henderson, Arkansas. Also, it's right next to a bunch of other places I wanted to road trip to, because there's more places in Arkansas besides that. But I thought that'd be a really cool place to road trip to and go to, really, because I love the Ozark Mountains. When we drove through there, they were beautiful. However, back then I didn't have my dash cam, so I wasn't able to catch those on camera. But I want to go back there, so I can. So that's why I want to go to Henderson, Arkansas. The next place after that was the Crossroads Cemetery in Hopewell, Arkansas. This is another sad one. This was a girl who was murdered by an internet predator back in year 2002. Her name was Casey Woody, and she was one of the... She wasn't the first one to get murdered by an internet predator, but basically, usually when you meet someone online, usually when you hear about someone who meets someone else online and they get murdered by an internet predator, usually what happens is the person will lure them away and meet them at a location. But what happened to Casey Woody was this person tracked her down and ambushed her in her own home, and it was absolutely horrible what happened to her. It was just sickening, really. And I felt sorry for Casey Woody, and I wanted to do a video of me visiting her grave and leaving flowers by her grave in memory of her. Also because she reminded me of myself, because when I read about her online, that's what caused me to take, like, internet safety more seriously. Like, don't trust people too much online. Because I always just thought that oh no, they won't come to your house and murder you. They have to lure you away to murder you. But that's not what happened to her. And I felt really sorry for Casey Woody. And I want to do a video of me leaving flowers by her grave. It is a tad bit ironic because I'm imagining right now that I would meet someone online who would take me to all these places, but yeah, I just want to mention that. And I actually was going to visit her grave because one stranger I met on Reddit, they took me on a long road trip through Mississippi a while ago, and we were going to go to Arkansas next, but they were having some health problems and we had to go back to Florida. I was kind of sad about that. So I didn't get to visit her grave. But I'm hoping to get the chance to go back. So can everyone please hope that I actually do make it back there? Please. I would really appreciate it. And the next place I wanted to go was Valonia, Arkansas. And Valonia, Arkansas was hit by a tornado, not once, but twice, some devastating tornadoes, back in 2011 and in 2014. I actually was going to go there last year. This was a rose I was going to leave by this man's grave. This man who was killed by a tornado in Valonia, Arkansas. He was only 18 years old. His name was Jeffrey Hunter. He was the same age as Will Norton, and he was killed by a tornado just like Will Norton. He was hiding in the bathroom when it happened. His mother was away, and he was texting his mother, and the last text message he sent out to his mother was, "I hear it outside. It's coming right for me. Goodbye, Mom." And I just thought that was really haunting and sad. He died in that tornado. And that reminded me of a time back when I was living in Clearwater. I remember there was a tornado that happened back in February of 2021. And I was really freaked out by it. And Florida isn't really a tornado state like Arkansas is, but I was hiding in the bathroom and I actually heard that tornado pass over the house that I was living in, and it freaked me out. It sounded like a freight train, but we don't get any trains. Like where I was living at that time, we never had any trains run by the house at all, so it was very unusual to hear a noise like that, and it freaked me out because I knew it was the tornado. But luckily, I didn't get a direct hit from it, or unluckily for you, all you Joe Winko haters out there, I didn't get a direct hit from it, and I just felt like that was really sad. And this was actually the rose that I was going to leave by his grave. We got this from a dollar store in Memphis, Tennessee, and I was going to leave this by his grave, but the stranger who was driving me through Mississippi, we didn't go to Arkansas because they were having some health problems, but I want to go back there and I want to leave this rose by his grave and do a video of me leaving this rose by his grave in memory of him because I felt really sorry for him and I never wanted him to be forgotten at all because it was just haunting hearing about what happened to him, and I just thought of myself when I was hiding in that bathroom from the tornado in Clearwater. Like, I didn't think that I was going to die at all. I was just worried about getting injured because I knew that tornadoes weren't really that powerful in Florida. But I was just imagine if that would have been how it all ended, me hiding in a bathroom and hearing the tornado coming right for me. That would have been, and then just knowing that that actually was how it all ended for someone else was absolutely terrifying and really sad. So that's why I wanted to do the video of me leaving flowers by his grave in Valonia, Arkansas in memory of him. Well, moving on to the next location. The next place I wanted to go was Texarkana, Texas, and Texarkana, Arkansas. Now, this one is pretty interesting. Half of the town is in Texas and the other half is in Arkansas, and with me and my autism mind, you know that I'm going to find that very interesting because I absolutely love Texas and I absolutely love Arkansas. Those are both states that I'm spiritually connected to. But basically what I wanted to do there was do a video of me exploring Texarkana, Texas, and Texarkana, Arkansas, because it's also the same city that this scary movie takes place at, the town that dreaded sundown. And also I made a scary movie that takes place in Arkansas, and that was called The Scarecrow. I'll have a link to that in the pinned comments. I also have another scary Sims 2 movie on the way called The Texas Killing Fields that takes place in Texas. I don't want to spoil what happens in it though, but... So I thought it would be interesting to make a video of me exploring Texarkana, Texas, and Texarkana, Arkansas, because I also thought it was really cool how both of those how that city is named after both of those states and how it's located in both Texas and Arkansas. And I thought it'd be a cool place to visit because I absolutely love Texas and been wanting to go back there for a while. So please hope that I find someone to take me there and also to the other places I listed. And then the next place is Huntsville, Texas, and this is another sad one. There is a grave that I wanted to visit in Huntsville, Texas. I talked about this girl in an episode of Joe Winko Talk before. The Walker County Jane Doe, that's what they called her at first, but they finally know who she is now. Her name was Sherry Jarvis. She was this 14-year-old girl who ran away from Minnesota, and she was murdered in Huntsville, Texas. They found her off the side of Interstate 45, and it was just absolutely terrible what this girl went through. They still don't know who killed her. They didn't know who she was until last November, November of 2021, and she was killed in 1980. So for 41 years, they didn't know who she was. And I felt really sorry for her. And in a weird way, like every single other grave I want to visit, she reminded me of myself. And that's why I wanted to visit her grave. I also wrote an essay about her back when I was in college. I mean, I wasn't in college for very long. I dropped out because it was too difficult. But my college professor for my English class I was in, she was so impressed by this essay I wrote about her that she uses it as an example and she reads it to all of her other students. And she asked me if she could use it as an example to read to all of her future students. And I told her yes, because I wanted the case of Walker County Jane Doe to get more attention. And I also included a picture of Walker County Jane Doe, what they thought she looked like and what she looked like. But I actually been meaning to contact my English teacher and tell her that they finally know who she is. Her name was Sherry Jarvis, and she was from Minnesota. And I wanted to do the video of me leaving flowers by her grave in memory of her because I felt really sorry for her. So that's why I wanted to go to Walker County, Texas, and that's the last place in Texas that I wanted to visit. And that's pretty much all of them, really. That's every single place I wanted to road trip to, and that's basically all of my bucket list that I just read to you guys right now and featured in this video. Now, I'm open to going to other places, but I just really want to go to all of these places first, because that's basically all of my bucket list, and after all that's done, that's basically it. I mean, I have added more places to the map since my last video of all the places I wanted to road trip to. But I'm not going to be adding any more after this. I mean, because the road trips and everything, it can get a bit tiring after a while. Like if someone like came up to me and said, "Joe, I want to take you to every single place you listed on that map." I mean, I definitely would be open to that, but it would take a while. I'm estimating if you went to every single place listed on that map, it would take roughly between 30 to 40 days, and I would need some time to rest between like multiple stops. Like after 10 of the stops, I would need to rest for a day. and then after 10 more, I would need to rest for another day. I mean, because I would be really excited to go to all of them and to do my videos at all of them, but it does get a bit tiring. But it'd be really awesome. I would absolutely love that. So just hope that I make it to every single place I listed on that map. Just hope that I find someone to take me to every single place I listed on that map. And just hope that I make it to all of them, get to do all my YouTube videos at all of them, and get enough time to edit and upload all of them. And yeah, so that's basically it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. Those are all the places that I want a road trip to. Just hope that I find someone to take me there. Hope that I find someone as soon as possible, really. Especially since I already got my 4th coronavirus booster shot. And especially now, since it's almost April, it's finally warm enough to go to all those places, really. So I'm happy about that at least. And just hope that I make it there and that I get to accomplish everything there. And yeah, just hope that I do, and just imagine me at all those places, because the more people who believe that I will, the more likely that I will go there. And if you guys want to know about this, I did a whole YouTube video of me explaining this. This is a magic adventure runestone. Basically, someone online told me to draw a face on a stone and then draw the rune symbol for protection and safe travel on the other side. I'm supposed to carry this around with me everywhere and whisper to it and tell it all the places I want to go. Well, I don't have to whisper to it, but I'm supposed to tell it all the places I want to go. And then once I finally make it to one of those places, I'm supposed to leave the stone there because the spell has been complete. But then I'm supposed to make another one and keep doing that over and over again, really, until I make it to all the places I want to road trip to. And I have like a whole bunch of stones like this. My grandma ordered me a whole bunch. And I basically colored the face on this with a Sharpie marker. And I have a whole bunch of Sharpie markers too. And yeah, so that's basically the whole point of this. I explain it more in one of my other YouTube videos, which I'll have a link to in the pinned comments. So that's basically it. Let me know what you thought of this video, and let me know what you thought about all the places I want to road trip to. And if you want to take me to one of them, feel free to reach out to me and contact me, I guess. I mean, just throwing that out there. Figured it was worth a shot. So, yeah, that's basically it. And just hope that I make it to all of them too, please. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.